One thing I'd like to add before the video starts, this is going to be on both the filtered and a lot less filtered version. This is going to play before the main filtered version clip plays, and then this will also come before that main part, before in the a lot less unfiltered version. And this thing that I wanted to say, even though my battery percentage is very low, is that some people, going back to the grades thing in the a lot less filtered version, some people are in school, they're way too focused on getting qualified through, quote unquote, qualified through their school grades, rather than having an A-star in real life. They would rather have an A-star in only school. You certainly can have both. However, as school quote unquote students, the word students would imply that we're learning, but that just is not the case necessarily. That isn't necessarily the case. It's something that I'd like to add. Please, just most of the things that you're going to learn in school, they're not going to mean much. They're not going to mean much, and you're not going to be able to apply them much. And I'd just like to say, please invest in parenting courses, your health, as in exercising, injury prevention. Please invest in these things. Personal training sessions, parenting courses. Please invest in these things. Pay for these things, because you're going to value what you pay for. These things, your health, your physical and your mental health, the people that you have behind you that are checking upon your health, your personal trainer, your GP, therapist, physiotherapist, all of these people behind you are helping you maintain your health and therefore live the best life that you could possibly live, compared to only getting A stars in school. The health stuff, that's going to help a lot more. Investing in knowledge that you can actually apply in your life is going to help a lot more than sine squared theta or cos squared theta. Trust me. Before we go to this next clip, as I thought we were going to go to for both of the videos, one thing I've got to say is, if there are some things that you really think that you could improve on and that your parents aren't doing to a standard you like, please talk to qualified people. For instance, your health, please speak to a personal trainer, a qualified personal trainer. Maybe you might not have access to a dietitian, but just do what it takes. Find these people, find these qualified people. Please, eventually, sooner or later, find these qualified people to help you out. Personal trainers for your physical health, and maybe also your nutrition. Dietitians would help as well, for specifically for nutrition. Therapists for your mental health. Physiotherapists for just not necessarily exercising, but for your physical health. I've come back home now to be able to just finish the rest of the video. What I said before the phone died and the audio cut off was, please invest in physiotherapists for the sake of your physical health, to make sure that you aren't on the way to injury, or if you are, you at least know that this is the case, rather than it being sprung up on you. I also said, after the phone cut off, I also said to invest in services like mentorship, like a life coach, for example. And you may say, well, where as a teenager, especially as a young teenager, am I going to get all of this information from when there's no money coming in? Make it happen. Do what you need to do. I'm not saying sell drugs. I'm not in any way condoning illegal activity to be able to have enough money to be able to invest in these services that I've spoken about. I'm not by any means condoning that. And what you do in order for money to come in is none of my business. This is only advice I'm giving for myself. And if you want to take it, you can. for those that are like, say, 13, for example, you're a teenager and you can't legally work. I absolutely am not going to advise people to illegally work. But what I can say is, especially if you're getting pocket money, or if you're not, you can ask, on the premise that you're in a stable household, if your parents tell you that you can't have parent money, then what I'd say is use what you do have. If you're watching this video and you're watching this, you have a means to be able to watch YouTube off rip. From there, just off that alone, you have an ocean, or maybe even multiple oceans worth of information that you can learn from, free information that you can learn from, and that you don't have to pay any money for. You will be charged your time, but you won't have to pay any money for it. So for those that literally can't work, and for those that also believe that they can't work because of what their parents have told them, that's where I'd start. Say, for example, you're 18 and your parents are telling you that you can't work, even though you can, as far as I'm aware anyway. Please invest your time in watching self-improvement videos. They will eventually rub off on you. Eventually. And you will eventually start doing what you need to do in order to live the life you truthfully want to live, and live life on your own terms. If you want to do that enough, if you want it enough, you will. As for the money thing, invest in ways that you consider fun. Fun things that pay. Fun things that can have money coming in. And fun things you want to do. Whatever that may be, I don't know. But okay, right. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. Just make it happen, man. If you're in a place where you can legally work, make it happen. Just make it happen. You owe it to yourself to have money coming in, man. Multiple sources of income for me is the way. Passive income as well, in particular. Things which you don't have to do anything extra. You don't have to consistently be there to do, and it can just have money coming in. Oh yeah, that's the way, in my opinion. But anyway, if I have anything else to say other than these things, then I'll make up part 2. But for now, that's it. Enjoy the rest of the video. This video is so large that I genuinely might have to make a part 2. I genuinely might have to. I haven't even gone into the main nitty-gritty of how, not only how I could help myself, but how others could help themselves with this advice that I'm going to give myself. But in order for me to give that advice, I have to actually make it clear as to how I've made it difficult how I made it difficult during my adolescence. For me personally, I'd say the first thing that was really, or that I did that was really unhelpful was only blaming my parents for what they didn't do, and only looking at that side of things. Sure, they didn't teach me about how to manage my finances to a standard that I'd like. Sure, they didn't teach me about how to eat healthily, because they don't know how to do it themselves to a standard that I like. For instance, yesterday I was looking at the rice and chicken stew first of all, they've got white rice instead of brown rice. And secondly, more importantly now, it had chicken stew. And there were puddles of oil. Literal puddles of oil. In my mind, I was thinking, that looked like that's the food equivalent of the gutter. Yeah, it may taste nice because I've been conditioned to like such foods. However, not only does that look disgusting to me now, but it doesn't smell all that great. It's one of those sorts of foods that when you smell it, you go, my body's I'm just not used to eating that sort of food as much as I once was. That was the food I was raised on, yes. However, it's not the healthiest. And I'd only really look at blaming them for not doing things, rather than not only appreciating what they did do, but also doing what it took to succeed in places I believe they haven't. For instance, in terms of taking care of my health, I could have gone to the gym. At 18, I wanted to go to the gym. However, I complained that my parents wouldn't let me. I don't think by that age they really had a choice. But I didn't really understand that. Not only that, but I'd also complain. This was one of the major things that I really disliked. They, time and time again, told me that I can't get a job whilst doing schoolwork because my grades weren't as high as they would have liked them to be. And instead of doing something about it, I only really complained that they didn't give me a chance. I remember watching a Nathaniel Messiah video in particular saying that because he had more limited time doing things that way, he was able to study more efficiently with the time he did have, or with the time he did set aside to do schoolwork. So I was thinking that I'd be able to do the same thing. Doing the same thing to me in this context means appreciate my time, the time that I did set aside for revision more, compared to if I didn't have a job. And I think I just felt really upset and frustrated that I didn't get a yes, that they didn't tell me, you know what, let's try it out and let's see where things go. As you get older though, you will have more of a say as to how things plan out. And past a certain age, even though we may not necessarily be told this, past a certain age, we do have to really take responsibility. There may not necessarily be quite a long enough transitioning phase where you not only believe this, where you're not only starting to believe this, but you're putting that belief into action. I genuinely could have believed that I was just basically left out to dry. Like I wasn't told this really. Maybe I believed that. But I remember one of my sisters in particular telling me that this is the case. I don't know how she worded it, and the memory is very blurry. But yeah, sure, there may be many things that you would have liked, that we would have liked, or I should say, I can't speak for you guys, that I would have liked my parents to have done. Sure. However, I made my adolescence harder than it had to be by one way I made my adolescence harder than it had to be was by was only thinking that was the case instead of actually doing something about it. Another way that I made my adolescence harder than it had to be was lack of consistency. I didn't use any outlets to be able to channel my frustration that was healthy. And sure, I may not have been taught that either. I may have not been taught how to do that either. My parents didn't teach me how to do that either. How to not only work through emotions, but how to constructively channel frustration, anger, violent thoughts, dark thoughts. They didn't teach me how to channel those things. However, at the same time, one way potentially that I made my adolescence harder than it had to be was not saying anything. During some serious conversations that were being had, I stopped trying. I stopped saying anything because I believed that I wasn't being listened to. And now this is another way that I seriously screwed up, and it made it much harder than it had to be. And that way was lack of investment. If I were able to speak to my teenage self, I would say, use that pocket money that you do have, that you've saved up over the months during middle school and also high school. Invest that money that you've saved. Invest it into learning more. Invest it into purchasing that gym membership. With some things, there may be some things your parents just say which you have to go against. In order to live life on your own terms. And one thing in particular that would have been is by purchasing a gym membership. That way, I would have found an outlet to be able to improve my health. I knew that gyms existed and I knew that I wanted to go to the gym, but I even checked it out, but I just did not purchase a membership with the money I had. With the money I had saved up, although I might not have been splashing cash, although I may have never been one to splash cash, I didn't invest it in ways that would have really helped me transform my life. Ways that I would have told myself to invest the money that I did have, the pocket money that I did save up, is gym memberships, parenting courses, and other things that you're interested in. Learning how to become great. It doesn't matter where you get the information from, really, just as long as that person's great and that person isn't known for being an untrustworthy source of information. For instance, one thing that's out now that I'm wanting to buy is Steph Curry's masterclass about, I've forgotten what the title is, but I really think that that's going to help me further transform my life and make more progress. If there's any two things that I tell myself, my teenage self, to do so that life is a lot easier than it was, it would be consistency. It would be, in terms of consistency, it would be to tell myself, or to show myself that you can not only record your thoughts, but you could post them up on YouTube and do that consistently every single day. Now, this was something that I was doing during my teenage years, but this was very, very, very late on. And eventually I deleted all of the advice that I made. I felt embarrassed, honestly. And I think one of the main reasons why I felt embarrassed to have that stuff up on YouTube is because I just believed that I was copying what Red Pill creators were saying, rather than actually having content of my own to offer. If there are any two things, to keep it extremely brief, it would be those. Publicly release your thoughts. Every single day. Have something to show for every single day. Every day without fail. And you'll see that your life will drastically improve as the months go on. Not only that, but please invest in yourself. And I don't mean through clothes. I don't mean through baggy Nike tracksuit bottoms and a baggy Nike black hoodie, because that's what you've seen on all those grind videos. No, I don't mean through clothes. Not eventually yes, because I want to have first-hand clothes instead of hand-me-downs. So eventually, yes, invest in new clothes, but not the first thing. The first thing is changing the mind. From there, your reality will change because of the actions that you've taken. Your reality will change because of what you've done. So you've got to change the mind in order to change your situation. You may have a lot of unlearning to do. If you've come from a childhood where you could see that your parents are a lot more focused on getting by than living their lives to the fullest. Not everyone's out here making 50 grand a year plus. Not everyone is out here doing what it takes to really live their lives to the fullest and teach their kids how to live their lives to the fullest as well. Sure, I could also say my parents didn't teach me critical thinking skills, and my parents went about serious conversations in a way that I didn't like. And even to this day, there are some ways in which they speak to me that I dislike. I don't like them giving me unsolicited advice. I don't like them trying to help with things that I may believe they know nothing about. And I don't like them trying to give me help when I haven't asked for it. If I'm coming from a place where I have asked for it, that's more than okay. But I'm not. I don't really at all. I don't ask for help. I don't ask for help from my parents. I just work through my things. I just work through what I want to work through myself. I don't really do it. I don't really ask them for help because I don't want to. For example, they are the ones, if anything, they are the ones asking me for help about how to improve their health through improving what they eat. My dad is the one doing that, not me asking him, through following a different life that they didn't teach me. And so be it. But it was up to me to do what it takes to be able to release my thoughts and work through them. Mental health, just very generally, just investing into myself would have helped big time when I was a young teenager. Ever since 13, if I were given parenting courses at 13 and I wanted to have those, to learn those parenting courses, and I stuck with it ever since that age, I would not be in this situation right now. At 13, oh no, I'd be in my own place. I think my life would be ideal. My life position would be what I consider ideal if I not only had parenting courses, but if I not only had access to parenting courses that I valued, but I also stuck with it throughout the years through having consistency. I would not be in this place right now. I would not be here. However, instead of just complaining like how I would, you absolutely can change your situation. There are some things that your parents might say that you can't do. But if that's the case, don't listen to them. If they're saying you can't get a gym membership, don't listen. Don't be that dumb. Don't be that dumb. If there's anyone telling you that you can't go to a place where you can improve your health, they can fuck right off. They can fuck right off. This person's telling you you can't go to a place where you can improve your health. What is that? What is that? You could at least... That said though, say you're like, say you're 13 and you don't really have much of a say, and your parents are telling you that you can't go to a gym. Okay, fine. They can't stop you from doing exercise inside though. Nobody has the right to tell you that you can't do what it takes to improve your health and to go into an environment which that's possible and which is more possible to do. No one. If you're 18 and your parents are telling you you can't go to the gym, don't listen to them. Don't be that dumb. Do not be that dumb. Don't be that stupid. Don't be that stupid. Don't. Seriously, do not be that dumb. What else? I think those are the main things. Every single day having somewhere to upload your thoughts so that when you, in the future, you can look back and see how far you've come. Not only that, but short term, you can also see the growth that you've made. Short term being over the span of months rather than years. You can actually see how much progress that you've made as a person. That in itself is amazing, and I tell myself to do that. Upload thoughts onto YouTube. Even if you don't show your face and you just take pictures. You just take pictures of of what you want to say. That's a start. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if people did that. Oh, that's what I tell myself, honestly. I'll probably make this clip I'll make this one video, and then I'll make the entire clip. I'll make everything that I have here another video as a more like unfiltered version. So it's you have more detail as to what's on my mind with regards to my past. But this is the really concentrated version. This clip in itself is the really concentrated version of how I think I've made it harder, how I believe I made my adolescence harder than it had to be. I don't think there's really much else to say. It'd be, the consistency, that would be one thing, having something to show for every single day, and then from there, just building up on that. Building up on habits that you want to have, building on habits that serve you, but eventually having so many habits that serve you, those habits that don't serve you, perhaps even the habits that your parents have taught you that don't serve you, they eventually dissipate, because you would have not only created healthy habits, which you enjoy a lot more than those unhealthy ones that you've taught yourself, and that you've been taught not only by your parents but by family and friends. You just keep building and building from off those healthy habits, and then those unhealthy ones, they'll eventually dissipate, because you would have not only built those habits, but you would have worked through those unhealthy habits and have a much clearer understanding as to why you did them and how you want to go about the future. For me personally, I have one example of this, and that would be eating food that I make, and only food that I make. Because I'm not going to the takeaway shop. I'm not going. I say that as if there's only one in the area. That's just not true. There are many of them. And there's another one that's actually come recently. Yeah, I tell myself to learn a lot. That's how I made my adolescence a lot harder than it had to be. Not learning what I could actually use and apply in my life, because I was way too busy being distracted, not only by being in a toxic environment, but just by being in school as well. Being in school didn't help. Being in school with people that were just basically hollow vessels of just what their parents told them to do did not help. That didn't help. I'm not against being in school, but you have to understand that a lot of what school teaches you, you're not going to be able to apply in your life. The only things that you'd really be able to apply in your life is English, a basic understanding of maths, addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Sciences, you don't need to know. Geography, you don't need to know. History, you don't really need to know. All of these subjects you don't really need to know about in order to get by. And you're not going to be able to apply most of them in your real life. Not only do you not need them to get by, but you don't need them to live your life to the fullest either. I'm not going to be thinking about any of the course material by history GCSE when I'm flying planes and helicopters, loving life, enjoying life. And that's not going to help me take things to the next level. I may make another video on this if there's anything else that comes up, when I'm speaking from a position in which my life, in my opinion, is a lot more ideal. However, I think that's it for now, because it doesn't seem like I'm saying much. Invest in yourself, man. Invest in yourself. Buy parenting courses. Buy parenting courses. It doesn't matter that you don't have a kid. Buy parenting courses. Go on Udemy and buy parenting courses. You could even go on, get a year Skillshare membership. Pay for what you want to look for what you want to research. Please pay for parenting courses, man, because it will help you work through so many things that you may not have otherwise been able to do at an early age. Please do, man. Please, you will not regret it. You will not regret getting parenting courses and finding ones that you actually find value in. Not only as a teenager, but as an adult. Or maybe you're very fortunate as a kid to be able to see this content. Younger than 10, that's what I'm defining as a kid. Or maybe even younger than 13. Please, you're further that's really going to help you in your teenage years, in your adolescence, and also in your adulthood, from your adolescence beyond. Buying parenting courses, or maybe not even necessarily doing that if you don't want to begin with, but going on YouTube and actually looking at parent-to-child attachment styles and having a basic understanding of psychology, and again looking at parenting videos, that will help you big time working through any childhood events that you had that were related to family that you ideally would have not wanted to go through. Anything you want to work on. The reason why I say pay for them is because you value what you pay for. You're going to value what you pay for. If you add money on it, you're going to have that as an incentive to keep on watching it. But anyway, just investing, health, training, physical exercise, food, what you feed yourself, what you feed your mind, what you read or don't read, what you watch or don't watch. All of these things, they matter, man. They matter. If you're listening to people talking about, I'm going to shoot you and shank you, you are not going to be in the most healthy of mind states, regardless of what you believe at the time. That eventually, after years, will affect you. I've been there, done that. Trust me, I know. Regardless of what you may think now, if you believe that listening to, for example, drill music, and they're talking about backing out shanks, you don't think that that's going to affect you, and it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal. Eventually, after years, sure. If you're listening to it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to become a gangster. No, but it certainly will have an effect on your mental health eventually. Maybe it may take years and you may not notice it, but trust me, listening to it has insidious effects, very insidious effects on you, or will do at least. Not listening to that sort of stuff and paying more attention to what you watch. For example, instead of listening to that sort of music, listen to something else that isn't as aggressive, that doesn't have kicks. For instance, salsa music. If you notice that salsa music doesn't have kicks, no, if you listen to that compared to drill music, salsa music doesn't have kicks in it, and you'll notice that it's a lot less aggressive than drill music is. And I mean actual salsa music, not remixes. Anyway, feeding your mind with self-improvement content will also be that will help big time. Sure, the self-improvement content may not be the most healthy to begin with. Red pill content may not be the most healthy of things to watch long term. However, it's a starting place, and that starting place is going to help you be able to just keep on moving in the direction that you eventually will love to see, which you will love to look at and just enjoy, really. It will. However, I think that's it. Working through mental health is going to help big time as well. Watching like Therapy in a Nutshell, for example, watching her sort of content really helped me. You don't have to watch her channel, of course, but it really did help with me understanding how to work through fear and understanding that it's a very sensible idea to process my emotions towards things. Knowing how to manage your emotional thoughts and your rational thoughts to something is going to help you, regardless of whether your parents told you this or not. Therapy in a Nutshell was a place I went to, and I'd absolutely, without a doubt and without hesitation, recommend that channel to anyone. But is there anything else? I mean, I would like to make a part 2 to this video. However, that will come from a position where my life is, in my opinion, a lot more ideal than what it is now. But for now, I think this really is it. Regardless of whether you consider yourself to be someone that's young or whether you consider yourself to be someone that's old, I really hope that you enjoy, that you value this, and that you learn something valuable from this. But I also hope that you enjoyed the video, and yeah, just let me know what you think about what I've said, and if you have any other opinions on the matter, let me know of them. Having another perspective on things may help, regardless of whether I think it's stupid at the time. It may help. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you lot later. Have some natural things as well, some natural sources of stimulation, i.e. for me, sports. Just do what you enjoy. Learn how to work through emotional thoughts and rational thoughts. Another one would be just, again, being in touch with nature is also going to help. Being in touch with nature is really going to help you. As children, we're taught to not, to go away from nature. Like, I've literally seen one woman tug at her kid as if she was a dog. But just sometimes, just laying down in nature and just allow yourself to chill out, that's gonna be absolutely amazing breeding grounds for you to process your emotional thoughts and rational thoughts. It really is, trust me. From personal experience, I can tell you that is the case. I might have more to say later on, but I think, yeah, this really is it. Bye, you lot. And enjoy yourselves. Have fun, man. have fun. Have fun with what you're doing and enjoy the progress you're making. But for now, bye.